Have you ever seen a woman on a trapeze suspend a cannon from her teeth? Yes, that's right, a cannon, and remain calm while someone fired it? No? Well, French Impressionist painter Degas did, and he was impressed. His view of performer Miss Lala at the Cirque Fernando led him to paint one of his masterpieces, which is his only circus-themed canvas. The deeply researched new exhibit at the Morgan Library, Degas, Miss Lala, and the Cirque Fernando, places a great painting in the rich urban context of late 19th century Paris. Curator Linda Wolk-Simon gives Canapé a personal tour.
This is an exhibition that tells the story of a great picture that Degas painted in 1879 of a very celebrated aerialist and circus performer whose stage name was Miss Lala. And there's a large body of preparatory material by him that's assembled for the occasion of this exhibition. So it's really a very rare, even unique occasion when all of his drawings and sketches that led to the execution of the picture can be seen together with the picture itself. We know a fair amount about the circuses in Paris. They attracted all different segments of society. Different ones catered to different elements of society. But the Cirque Fernando, where this picture was set, we know that members from all different classes sort of convened there and literally brushed skirts against each other, as one contemporary chronicler records. So for Degas, who really was always literally on the prowl around the city looking for new subject matter, edgy subject matter that really resonated with ideas about modernity and modern life, the circus was a sort of naturally appealing venue for him. Degas clearly was not interested in the person, in the historical personality, in the biography. On his drawings, when he inscribes her name, he writes Miss Lala, which was her stage name, that was not her real name. He kind of depersonalizes her and objectifies her and is interested in her as something other than an individual, which, as I said, kind of made me want to know what, if anything, could we find out about her. Well, she was an extraordinarily gifted aerialist and acrobat who was capable of myriad amazing feats. And it's interesting that the one Degas chose to portray was sort of the least spectacular, if you will. He showed the moment when she was hoisted into the heights of the circus, which I know from reading an article about the actual building itself was 70 feet high. He doesn't really give us an indication of the physical space. He really carefully crops it, but she was hoisted to the heights of the circus by a rope that she clenched between her teeth, and that's the moment he shows us. We have two co-stars here. We have Miss Lala and we have the Cirque Fernando. He's nudged the performer off to the side a bit to really focus on the architecture of the circus, which, because we have a lot of documentary material showing us what it actually looked like, we know that he's very faithful. So you have this careful attention to the architecture, this focus on the figure. They seem to be, on the one hand, two sort of unrelated components, with the architecture being shifting and moving and the performer being fixed and immutable. But ultimately, there's this perfect fusion and synthesis of the figure and the architecture that he achieves by having the figure really conform to the matrix of the architecture itself. So we have her upraised right arm completely and exactly echoing the angle of the rib of the ceiling to her right. We have her vertical torso really sort of conforming as though the column behind her is going right up through her spine. The angle of her legs is picked up exactly and the rib coming out beneath her feet. So we have this fusion of opposites, so something that's immediate and shifting and temporary with something that's timeless and immutable, this ultimate, as I said, sort of perfect fusion. And what's ultimately, I think, timeless and iconic about this image is the manner in which Degas invokes and evokes and sort of paraphrases time-honored iconographic theme, one that he would have known from his many years in Italy and his immersion of old masters. This image of a saint rising in triumphant apotheosis, transformed by light, absorbed by light, ascending into a light-filled heaven. That this really is a secular recreation of that theme. So as a sacred angel or saint becomes in Degas' hands the archetypal secular image of a circus performer who is not propelled by clouds or cherubs or some other divine agency, but rather by the very material means of a rope. So he creates this illusion, and at the same time he punctures it with this sort of supremely ironic nod to modernity.